As the Public Service Alliance of Canada continues its strike, other public service unions are encouraging their own members to show their support. And to talk about that and what that means, we're now joined by Jennifer Carr. She is the president of the Professional Institute for the Public Service of Canada. Ms. Carr, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Listen, I think it's worthwhile to lay the groundwork, if you will, for people at home, because while your union does represent public service workers, it is separate from PSAC. Can you explain who your members are?
Yeah, so my members are, we are the second largest federal public service union. We represent 72,000 members across the country. We represent occupations such as engineers, scientists, auditors at the CRA, IT specialists, and healthcare workers. Mm-hmm.
So again, separate from the striking workers right now, although you are calling on your members to show their solidarity, and you're not asking them to strike, but you are asking them to join the picket.
Yeah, so it's very clearly we are not in a strike position, but we recognize that we are bargaining with the same employer, so it's very important that we show solidarity with our brothers and sisters who are trying to get Treasury Board to come to the table with a fair and reasonable deal.
Mm-hmm. How do your members feel about their employer right now?
So my members are upset. When you have a public service that has worked effectively and efficiently for the last 3 years from a remote from home posturing to be mandated with no reason and purpose to come back to the office, that hasn't been paid properly for the last 7 years, thanks to
the Phoenix system.
Phoenix pay system. You know, we have highly educated professional people who value their work as a public servant and the work they do on behalf of Canadians. And when it's more important to the government about where you sit versus the productivity that you provide to the government, that's disconcerting.
Mm-hmm. Although, when it comes to the current conflict, or the impasse with PSAC and the Treasury Board, primarily, it's about wages. And to hear it from the Treasury Board, they are offering 9% across 3 years. They say that is what they believe is fair. And also, they make the argument if they were actually to give the union what they are asking for, it would make it far more difficult for the federal government to deliver critical services to Canadians.
Yeah, so the first point I'd like to say, the PSAC is coming with a request of 13.5%. And inflation matching the same period is 13.8%. So they're not asking for anything more than to keep their wages stable with what inflation is driving. It's important that people understand that PSAC has been at the table for more than 2 years. We're working backwards. We're getting pay increases for the last 2 years. We're not looking into the future. We're just asking that those wages can keep pace. The cost of groceries, the cost of housing, transportation has all gone up, and those wages need to keep pace.
But again, the Treasury Board is also making the argument that if they met the demand, that would have an impact on public services.
I don't see that as a case. You know, we have enough money coming in to the Treasury Board. My members are actually auditors. They are willing and able to get the revenue that is necessary, not only to pay public service workers what is necessary, but also to pay for social programs that are necessary, dental care, transfers to provinces for health care. But the government doesn't have the resources on site to collect those tax monies.
Mm-hmm. You know, I wonder how you feel, and this is just anecdotal, because I was driving into work listening to talk radio, and certainly of the voices that I was hearing, many people who are not sympathetic, rightly or wrongly, with public service workers, and they find it hard to believe that it is justifiable to walk off a job that is essentially secure, that also comes with good benefits and good pension.
That's very interesting. Like I said, the frustration that we have, there's assumption that, you know, we're asking for a lot of things. With the return to work order or mandate, our members are actually struggling to get the basics, like a desk. We want to work productively and effectively on behalf of Canadians. But if we're spending our time looking for desks, looking for, you know, proper places to sit, this is taking away from that productivity. So I think they should be more frustrated about the waste that is happening, the logistical nightmare that the government has created, which hinders our ability to deliver those services to Canadians.
Now, it was interesting to listen to Mona Fortier as she and other ministers of the government were sitting during the press conference earlier this week, because when she was asked about pay, she said those who went on strike would get strike pay from the union. Those who still continued to work would still get their pay. What did you make of that comment?
It's a very subtle message asking members to break the picket line. I really think that the comment was a kind of a veiled attempt to break solidarity from the line. Again, this government hasn't been able to pay its workers properly for the last 7 years. So one of the reasons members are angry and on the picket line is because they just want to be paid a proper wage that keeps up with inflation so that they can pay their bills.
Quickly losing time here, but given the fact that workers right now are this frustrated with their employer, in this case the federal government, and the federal government has not made any moves as of yet, are you worried about how long this strike might go?
I'm not worried. I really think that because they're still at the table, this is very different from a strike where people walk away from the table. The PSAC is still a willing partner at the table with Treasury Board. We want to make a deal. They are just making sure that Treasury Board understands that its workers are behind them, and my workers are also behind them, because we need to make fair deals that meet inflation, but also are reasonable and have our rights that are secured.
Ms. Carr, thank you for the time.
Thank you.